Well, about ready to drive a little over 3 hours to Columbus, Ohio to go to Dude-A-Thon. Yes, that dude, he abides. It's a showing of the Big Lebowski paired with about 10, actually exactly 10 different local beers. Going up there to save my buddy Todd, and our other buddy John is flying up. It's gonna be a good time. And of course, you know, when I'm in another town, another state, I gotta do some bourbon hunting. So this will be bourbon hunting in a ABC controlled state. This will be my first hunt in a state like that. Some people call Ohio the land of Weller. We're gonna see if that holds true. And overall, just see what we can find. Let's get going. Bourbon hunting in Ohio, and I've got some hunting friends with me this time. We got Todd Koopa over here, and we got John back Gramps, if you know him from the live stream. That's Gramps right there. Stay off my lawn. This is the first time that I've hunted in a state-controlled state.
Control state.
It's so foreign to me. So all of the prices are set, and you have to sell allocated things when they give you permission. Is that right, Todd?
Yeah, they normally will do a lottery once a month, about 8 months out of the year, and that's for the highly prized stuff like the Pappies and the BTAC. 2, maybe 3 times a year they'll do a weekend where they release all their single barrels. Throughout the year you'll find some single barrels here and there, but they do big releases on Saturdays at like right at 9 o'clock, and not every store will have them, but certain stores will have single barrels that you can go out and get. You're gonna be in line about 5 o'clock if you want some good ones. This year we had a couple Willet Purple Tops. They had some rum. They had some Stag. They had a bunch of stuff. I had some friends that were able to pick up some good stuff.
We'll see what we can find here in Ohio. Our first stop was Giant Eagle, with Todd saying it's a good representation of what a large grocery store has to offer in Columbus. I would say it's about the size of a Kroger Wine and Spirits in Kentucky. Decent selection with a few things we wouldn't normally see at a Kroger. The Smoke Wagon Malted Rye got my attention, but $80 is a big trigger to pull at the first stop. Happy to see Joseph Magnus popping up more and more, and although $93 is nothing to sneeze at, I don't think I've ever seen it for this low before. Haven't seen Wheat Benny before, and apparently it's a Cleveland finished bourbon. And of course, you'll run into local companies whenever you visit a bigger city, and here's a few. We've actually got tours scheduled later with Middle West and Watershed. It's crazy how we don't see Jack Daniel's single barrel proof back home, and it's just as crazy how we're gonna see it at every single stop today. But I didn't know that yet, so I grabbed a bottle. I mean, why not here? It's gonna be the same price everywhere, right? Hashtag control state. Hey look, Jefferson's got a bottle redesign. I'm not buying it, but cool. Hadn't seen these box sets from High West before. Pretty nice, you get the bourbon and the double rye in a couple of glasses. Here's a few allocated bottles left over from last week's drop. Okay, first stop in the books. Had to get that Jack Daniel's barrel proof, great price, and we just don't see them very often in Kentucky, or at least in Lexington. So, first stop down and one bourbon secured, or Tennessee whiskey. Whoops. Next stop was the pit stop. And right off the bat, as soon as we walked in, there it was. Weller. Special reserve, but still. Limit 1, allocated. Gets them every time. Hell, it got me. I'm picking one up. Don't judge. Heaven Hill Bottled and Bond is easier to find in Kentucky now, but still very hit or miss. Some places even hold them for special release days. Sazerac Rye is another hard to find in Kentucky, believe it or not, and here's 32 bottles sitting on the floor. Well, there's a Jack Daniel's barrel proof again. Same price though, so I'm good. Remus Repeal Reserve Batch 7 was seen quite a bit in Lexington, and now here it is in Columbus, and for $10 higher than we snagged our bottle for. Looks like Hot Toddy's grabbing one. Von Payne Black. I haven't seen this one before, and I know nothing about it, but it's pretty obvious this is what Van Helsing would have drunk. Great Old Elk selection. The 8-year, the 10-year, the cigar cut. I'm very curious, but not for $130 right now. More Joseph Magnus, and wait a second. It's $90 here and Giant Eagle had it for $93? This is a control state. What gives? No, seriously, if someone could explain this to me, that'd be great. They also have Murray Hill Club. I forgot to get the front of this bottle, but it's the 10-year anniversary of Cleveland Whiskey, and for this one, they bumped it up to a minimum of 1 whole month. Nice. These two are new to me, but I just love the labels, though they kind of give a craft beer vibe. Store 2 in the books, if there's a question, is Ohio the land of Weller? Well, I don't know if that's decided yet, but second store, and we did come across a Weller. It was just a special reserve, but it was $25.99, and I think we're low on it, so I picked one up. I mean, for that price, it's good to have one because, you know, people come over and sometimes they want to drink a Weller, even if it's a special reserve. So, but Todd picked up the Remus Repeal Reserve 7, and apparently it hasn't been up here very much either, right?
Not at all. I very rarely, that's the first time I've ever seen it in the wild, so
he picked that up as well, too. Nothing for John yet.
Strike it out so far. That's okay, though.
All right, just got here. And you know, if I'm going to a Dude-A-Thon, we're watching The Big Lebowski, there's going to be a lot of beer being drank, and maybe some White Russians, too. So you know I'm going to take my ZBiotics beforehand, especially since I'm planning on driving back home the next day, and I've got to be feeling my best. If you haven't heard us talk about ZBiotics before, it's a pre-alcohol probiotic drink, and here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. ZBiotics produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. ZBiotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to help you feel better the morning after drinking. Just remember to make ZBiotics your first drink of the night, drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. Now, if you watch us very often, you know that we rarely do sponsorships because we only recommend products that we actually use, and in this case, find effective. A lot of our whiskey drinking friends also use this product and recommend it, and since it's a new year, I want to form better overall habits. And here's one of them right here. ZBiotics allows me to enjoy nights out in moderation while working towards my goals. And if you're like me, and you're starting off the year right, and you want to try this out for yourself, we've got the hookup for you. Go to zbiotics.com/bourbonnight or scan the QR code on the screen right now to get 15% off your first order when you use Bourbonnight at checkout. You can also sign up for a subscription using our code so you can stay prepared no matter the time or occasion. ZBiotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money. With questions asked? No questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/bourbonnight and use the code Bourbonnight at checkout for 15% off. Thanks, ZBiotics, for sponsoring this episode. By now, we were all feeling like some lunch could do us some good, and I'm about ready to experience racks for the very first time. Fast food with style, but no endless salad bar anymore. This was a Todd recommendation, and he told us this is one of 5 restaurants left in the world. I got the King Racks, and I think both of the guys got a BBC. And of course, we all got twisty fries. Apparently, if you call them curly fries, it's like insulting your mother. Naturally, we sat in the atrium because who else has these anymore? So, your review of Racks.
it's always good. It's a must come to. Anybody that is looking for nostalgia from the 80s, fast food, this is the place to come to. Get yourself a BBC, the beef, bacon, and cheddar. Oh, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. Don't forget the twisty fries.
John, your review of Racks.
Major winner, and they have this high quality Heinz horseradish sauce for the twisty fries. Total winner. Total winner.
My review, I came for the nostalgia. I stayed for the twisty fries. I like Arby's better, but it was good, and I'm glad that we drove 30 minutes out of our way to come here. Bexley Liquor Agency was next, and it had a decent selection with another Weller sighting. Some more Heaven Hill Bottled & Bond, and our first sighting of a Maker's BEP. I think that Joseph Magnus was 93 here, but they kinda had their labels out of place. But what's this, you ask? That's a Jack Daniel's single barrel proof rye with no price tag. And by the way, their Weller Special Reserve was $2 less than what I got mine for. Okay, so that store, cash only, and I wonder if that's the reason why the Weller Antique, or not Antique, the Weller, I wish, Special Reserve there was a couple dollars less expensive. Saw the Jack Daniel's single barrel proof rye, which I know, John says you got them all over the place.
Yeah,
in Georgia,
a lot
right?
of them in Georgia, usually about $80.
Yeah, not in Kentucky very often at all. This was $64.99 before tax, so had to pick that up, that is. And the weather here in Ohio is beautiful. It's so great. Like it doesn't rain in Kentucky also. State Liquor Agency. What a creative name. Was next. Not the greatest overall selection, but here's an Old Ezra 7-year full-proof rye. Very nice. And more Jack Daniel's single barrel proof. Okay, we get it. Impressed to see such a high-end Bardstown Bourbon Company here with the Goose Island collaboration, and also loving to see their Origin series around. They did have some more things behind the counter, including the Joseph Magnus Cigar Blend. What was the price on that one?
$214.99.
$214.99. Do really like that, but that's kind of hefty. So left it for the next person. But on to the next spot, right?
Next spot, here we go.
Making our way downtown into the Arena Wine and Spirits. A very nice store that had some signed Pursuit Spirits bottles, and then a lot of what we've already seen today, along with a few new things. Let's check it out. You didn't think that Knob Creek 18 was going to go unsnapped, did you? And there's the Traveler, the new Chris Stapleton bottle that's been flying off the shelves in Kentucky. Let's see what all the fuss is about. All right, so Arena Wine and Spirits, I would say, is the best place that we've been today. Todd and John, there you are.
Yep.
Both picked up the same thing. What'd you get?
Knob Creek 18-year.
Yep, Knob Creek 18.
Yeah.
I would have. We got a sample and we put it in the blind best of the year, and it did pretty well. But bourbon budget. Yeah, I've already got some bottles today. So our hunting day was done, and it was off to do some tours. Our first stop being Middle West Spirits, where we got some great cocktails first, and then on to Watershed. But both places didn't allow video on the tour, so here's some pics. Can I just say how weird it was to go on a tour at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and then after that one at 7:30 at night? And here in Kentucky, tours are like done with around 4 or 5 o'clock. And they start at 8, 9, in the morning. That was weird. So is Ohio the land of Weller? I mean, a couple bottles of Special Reserve here and there. I feel like it's pretty similar to what we found in Austin, Texas. I don't know if I would call it the land of Weller. Of course, we weren't there staying in line during some releases either, so who knows. But I would say it is the land of Jack Daniel's single barrel proof. Even found a single barrel proof rye. So, you know, not the most successful hunt as far as acquiring bottles, but it was really fun hanging out with Todd and John and just seeing how things operate in a different state, the whole control state thing and the locked prices, supposedly locked prices, you know. That was nice. Overall, it was an amazing weekend. Glad I could get away, spend some time with some friends, do a little hunting, watch the Big Lebowski, eat and drink and be merry. It was a lot of fun. So, here's your resolution for 2024. If you're not already subscribed to us, you can do so by clicking right up here. There are suggestions of other videos. They're down here. We hope to see you over there in one of those. See you next time. Until then, hunt more bourbon.